Welcome to the Pause Between Us podcast, co-hosted by our best friends Natalie
and Sacha. We're lifelong animal lovers and proud pet parents. No kids, just fur. And between us, we share our lives with
cats Weaver and Murray
and Betty the pug.
Yes, Ash.
Hiya.
You're
How
right.
you doing? Yeah, you?
Yeah, good. Not too bad, thank you.
Good. Yeah, it's the birthday week, isn't it? I've recently celebrated a birthday.
Yeah, I've just had a nice week off and had a lovely birthday at the start of the week. We've had lots of birthdays this week. We've got my husband's grandma's 100th, and then my mum's birthday as well. So lots of birthdays. It's been great. It's been nice celebrating, have some time off work.
May is clearly like a big birthday month then.
Big family birthday month for us, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I'm not closer and we can celebrate. Well, we could have celebrated together and gone out for a cocktail or a wine like we used to do when we were younger, hang out. I still remember your 30th birthday, I think, really well. The fancy dress party. Yeah, 80s. That was very cool.
That was fun. And then when it was my 40th, we did the 90s.
Just going to work through the decades.
The next one.
Yeah. Let's not even think about the next big birthday. I think I've got a few years to go and I'm sort of,
I'm dragging my heels for this one. So, let's not wish it on us.
No.
How are you? How's things with you been? How's your week?
Yeah, it's been a busy week as always, but all good. Betty's still going to her physio, but we've moved that to fortnightly now. She's still having the laser therapy. And really sad actually to hear that the physio that she's been dealing with is only leaving temporarily because she's off to have a baby, but it means that her role won't be filled. And we're going to have to find a new physio. And there's not many of them around. So on the hunt for a new physio.
It's interesting that you talked about this physio because with Murray having this sort of limp thing going on, I wondered whether there was cat's physio. So I might try and, I thought about massaging his neck and shoulders to see if that eased a little bit, but I don't know what I'm really doing. So it did make me wonder whether there's cat versions out there.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think with the physio I've been doing with Betty, the physio has sort of taught me how to do a bit of sort of massage of Betty of her neck and shoulders because her back legs aren't working as well. She's putting a lot of pressure on her front legs and I think all around her chest and her neck and her shoulders quite sort of stiff and sore. So it's quite hard to describe on audio. I think it would be better if I was there with you and I could show you what I do with Betty. She sort of likes it but doesn't. She sort of has this little squirm as if to say it's kind of like a nice feeling but not.
Yeah.
But the physio did say she was quite tight around there in that area. So hopefully sort of the massages every night on the sofa while we're watching TV are helping.
I hope so.
Yeah, it makes me think I could do with something like that.
I'm feeling like that now. Like, give me one.
Give me one. But today with Betty is nail clipping day, actually. Which Betty absolutely hates having her nails clipped. Yeah. It's been a challenge ever since we've had her. Yeah. So, and you have to make sure as well that the nails don't get too long because that can also affect her balance and her gait. Yeah. So,
do they not naturally wear down through walking?
Well, they do, but she hasn't been doing as much walking, so they've been growing a lot more quickly. And that is, I think, one of my biggest regrets and learning is the nail clipping. I think if have my time again, I would have made sure that I kept on top of it and also persevered because I think with Betty she hates having her paws touched. She's a bit funny about that. I think it's a pug thing, but then that means she also even hates even more her nails being clipped. And I think I've sort of, because it's quite traumatic for her, it's quite difficult. She hates it. She squeals that you sort of think, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to put her through this. I'm not going to do it as often. And then as a result, the nails kind of grow even longer and then it's even harder to clip them because I just sort of explain a little bit about nails here for people that don't know, because I've been on a real sort of learning journey on this. But nails are formed from the nail bed, and they're made up of keratin, which is a protein made of dead cells. And the inner part of the nail is called the quick. And that contains blood vessels and nerves which provide nourishment to the nail. Now, if you don't clip dogs' nails enough or frequently enough, then the quick also grows down. So when you come to clip a nail, you're cutting through the quick. And then that's really, really painful. The thing is, she's now got super long quicks. And when she had her teeth removed last year, I asked them while she was kind of under to do the nails, so that way she's not going to know, and they said to me, she's got really sort of long quicks.
Wow.
And so it's a bit of a challenge, really, because if you don't keep the nails short, they can cause multiple problems. The nail could turn into the pad and it cause pain and occasionally infection. And like I say, there could be problems with the dog's posture or malformation of the feet. And, Betty, because she did have a long claw last year, also caught the nail, and we had to have that removed. And so that was also quite hard, quite traumatic. It was a result of us not clipping them enough. Yeah, she did have a nail injury. So it's really tricky, but today we're going to persevere, and I'm trying to what I'm called nibble at them. I'm nibbling at them daily. So I'm choosing one claw on their nail. Keep using those two words interchangeably. But I have to distract her and I have to get my husband to hold her. And I sort of have to kind of do it while she's not wriggling about. And I sort of choose one and then, give her a bit of time out. And then the next day do another. But recently I had sort of clipped some of them and sort of blood poured everywhere, but I've got this powder now which you can pop on, but they call it like a coagulant powder that you just sort of dab on with some pressure and it sort of stops. But one day I did it and the blood was pouring, and of course she's got very dark nails. Her nails are black, so her claws are black. With some dogs they're sort of quite clear and you can actually see the quick in them, but with the sort of dark claws you can't.
Nightmare.
So it's a bit of a guessing game as to where the sort of the quick is.
Yeah, so, cats are the same actually, but with mine they are clear.
Okay.
But I haven't cut cats' claws for ages because most of the cats are quite good at keeping their claws short by using all the scratch posts.
Yes,
so
actually, they do a lot of scratching.
All the time, so they don't need to. What happens usually is with older cats, probably same with Betty, they don't scratch as much. They grow a lot quicker and they tend to, like you say, curl in and then touch the paw pads.
Like so I had to do,
and I had to do that with Diaz and get hers cut more regularly. She wasn't too much of a fuss. These two, I think, will be a nightmare because they are wrigglers.
Yeah, it's the wriggling, it's the squealing, it's the sort of you don't want to cause them pain. It's that saying, killing them with kindness. You're sort of saying, well, I won't do it. I won't get them stressed. But actually, then there's so many consequences of not keeping the nails short that actually you're better off just doing.
Yeah, like you said, I think if I kind of have my time again, I'd definitely recommend to anybody who's got a young cat or kitten, play with their faces, touch their eyes, open their mouth, get them used to sort of just peering in and checking their ears, checking their eyes, checking their mouth, touching their paws. I mean, ours are quite good at some of that, but getting in their mouth is impossible, especially at the vets. And last time we went, when they were checking Murray's tooth, they burrito wrapped him.
Oh, what's that?
I felt really sorry for him because he's not normally restrained like that, but they just sort of put him in a towel and wrapped it round so he couldn't fling his arms and legs out. He doesn't scratch, but he just uses them to manipulate himself around and wiggles more. So they burrito wrapped him and managed to just about check him, but he's craning his neck round so they can't get to him. And I'm like, it's fine, all they're going to do is check your mouth, but he doesn't know. So
that's the thing, it's just you're trying to do good and they absolutely hate it. And I think you're right, it's sort of doing this thing from a really young age, getting them sort of comfortable. And because we adopted Betty at 1.5 years, we sort of missed those puppy years really.
Yeah.
But I think there's still more I could have done. But yeah, burrito wrap. I love that little saying or that term. I'm just imagining him now in this little towel.
Little towel,
snug
yeah.
as a bug.
He didn't mind until she started looking at his mouth. And then he's wiggling around again. Oh, like, Murray, it's fine. Bless him. But good luck with your claw cutting.
Yeah, claw clipping. I will keep you posted. But talking of learnings, I think we're quite excited today, aren't we, to learn all about taking care of rabbits, because I think we've both spoken before, or I'm sure we have, but about when we had rabbits when we were younger and some of the things we weren't really aware of, and there wasn't as much awareness of generally about rabbit welfare. And we both had rabbits, I think, didn't we, in very small hutches.
Yeah, I had a rabbit that I don't really like talking about because I made a big mistake with that rabbit when I was in my early 20s, and it was going to be a house rabbit, and I feel utterly guilty for my care of that poor thing. I wasn't mean to it, but at all, and it had the range of the house, but I made some mistakes. And like you say, you feel guilty, and I want people to realise that you may feel that guilt from learning now about care of animals and how you did it in the past, but don't feel guilty. It's just all about kind of educating and making a change now, and hopefully by us sharing information it helps people to make a few little changes to how they take care of animals, as long as you learn and do something new.
Yeah, exactly. So it is. And so we're today chatting to Carrie from the Huns Buns, who is going to be talking to us about her life taking care of Inky, Jack and Blue, who are rescue bunnies. And just basically some top tips for animal welfare and taking care of your bunny in the best possible way possible. So I'm quite excited to speak to Carrie.
I'm really pleased she's agreed to come on. It's so kind of people just getting involved and helping us educate and share with people. So thanks. It'll be a really good episode. So stay with us, and she'll be on any second. Okay, so here we are. We've got a lovely special guest called Carrie from the Huns Buns. And as you may be able to tell, she looks after bunnies. And what drew me in was your lovely, lovely social media posts. I was just so astonished by the beautiful hutches and enclosures you've made for them. I was just like, this is gorgeous. Like, you'd gone to town with it. It looked beautiful. And you had loads of amazing tips and advice. So wanted to reach out. We wanted to bring you on. So thank you for coming, Carrie. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. It's really good to meet you. Just to get us started, so tell us about you and the Huns Buns, who I believe are called Jack, Blue and Inky.
Yep, Jack, Blue and Inky. So they are 3 bonded male rescue bunnies. And they've made their home with me in rural Yorkshire. They're a continental breed mixed with some English spot, we believe, because they are from the RSPCA. So they're, because of the circumstances they were rescued from, it's just best guess what kind of breed that they are. But they're quite big bunnies. So they need a lot of space and a lot of enrichment to keep them busy because they're 3 boys, they're quite boisterous. And it is quite unusual to have 3 bonded males living together. Their personalities and their colony structure work so well. And even after they were neutered with the RSPCA and then rebonded back together, they were still a gorgeous fit for each other. So they were rescued together and now they're living still together. So that's lovely.
Oh, that's lovely. You can keep them together.
Yeah.
What does the bonded males mean? Like, is that because they've grown up together? Is that what it means?
Yeah. So when rabbits are bonded, it means that they have kind of formed a friendship and a bond with each other. So when you bond rabbits together, they basically kind of connect with that bunny for the entirety of their lives. But because bunnies have personalities, it's quite difficult to bond some bunnies together because sometimes their personalities will just kind of clash like humans. So we're quite lucky that my 3 boys are very kind of different. There's only one that kind of is the dominant one, and then there's one who is quite submissive and he just kind of does his own thing. And then Blue is just obsessed with Jack, who's the boss. So it just works really, really nicely together. if all three of them were trying to be the dominant one, then it wouldn't work. So yeah, it's just, lovely circumstances that they're able to live together like they do.
Oh, do you think they figured that out themselves in terms of the pecking order, or do you think that that's just their personalities and actually it's nice that they've kind of, the three of them are like they are, so they do get along?
I think it's a bit of a mix, really. From where they were rescued from, they were living with like 45 other bunnies, and they were all kept together in a really tiny shed.
Wow.
Somebody kind of just happened upon them by accident and rescued all of them and put them in his car and drove them back up to Yorkshire and surrendered them to the RSPCA. So I think that there was possibly some kind of natural pecking order already in place within that environment. And then when the three boys were taken to the RSPCA fosterer, the lady who I fostered them from, she fostered quite a few from the same rescue. And yeah, those three, they kind of figured out their structure again in rescue. And then when they came to me, we had a couple of days of Jack being particularly overly dominant for a couple of days while they were in a new environment, but then it just settled down again back into what they were used to.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's really good to hear that you've adopted from the RSPCA. My husband will be very happy because he works for the RSPCA. So
that's lovely.
Yeah, he'll be really pleased that you've gone about that. So what made you want to adopt and how did you go about it? Have you adopted before or was it something new?
I've rescued before, but I've rescued from pet shops, which sounds like a contradiction in terms, but I've me and my mum, who's no longer with us, but she also was the person who would rescue animals from neighbours and people that she saw out and about with dogs that weren't being treated very well. I'll give you £20 and I'll take the dog off you kind of thing. She worked on a farm. We had baby goats in our house, even mice. I remember being bitten by a mouse as a child and my mum rescuing the mouse and releasing it in the park. So, even as a child living in the middle of nowhere in Yorkshire, bringing injured bunnies that I'd found on the road, and home in my t-shirt and things like that. So yeah, I think it's always just been kind of ingrained in me to want to, rescue and help wherever I can. Even through school, college, uni, I went through the foster care system myself, and I had rabbits the whole time with me, with my foster parents. And when I met my husband, I had rabbits, so came as a package deal with rabbits, and also had a rescue dog with me when I met my husband as well. So yeah, I've just always had them. When my eldest bunny, at the time he was 13, when he died, I was newly married. I was thinking about babies. So I kind of put rabbit keeping kind of on pause, on hold for a little while. But they're bigger now. They're 7 and 10. So that kind of itch came back that I needed to scratch and get bunnies again. Found lots and lots of really lovely rescues in my area, and then was put in touch with a lady who fosters for the RSPCA who literally lived in the next village to me. So yeah, that's how I came to be with them.
So gorgeous.
Yeah, amazing story. Just the fact that it sounds like it's in your DNA. And interesting, when you met your husband, did you say it's me and the dog and the rabbits? Or
yeah, absolutely.
Take me as a package.
Definitely. When we were looking for our first flat, our first house together, we were trying to find somewhere to rent together and nowhere wanted to rent was with a dog and rabbits and things like that. So yeah, it was, it's just tough. We'll just have to wait until somewhere
it's all of us.
is available.
Yeah, all or nothing.
I'll go together.
How old are the bunnies now, the ones you've got, the 3 boys?
So Blue and Inky, the RSPCA think that they're from the same litter, or that they were born very, very close together from different litters because of their size and their weight when they were rescued. So they thought that they were about up to a year old. And Jack, based on his size and weight when he was rescued, they thought he was perhaps older and that he was maybe in the 1 to 2 bracket. But yeah, it's because of their circumstances, it's all a bit of a guess. They are microchipped and they do have dates of birth on the microchip, but it's kind of a best guess.
Yeah, that was like with my dog. We know she's definitely 11 because we've had her since she was 10. We've had her for 10 years.
Yeah.
And we knew she was at least 1.5, but yeah, they thought she might be older.
Yeah.
You kind of, why do they make great pets? Like, what is it about rabbits that make them so lovable? I mean, I can guess, but...
I mean, they're just such awesome animals. They're such a unique species. I think a common misconception is that they are kind of low maintenance starter pets, which I absolutely hate that term, that you can stick in a hutch and feed carrots and you don't really have to interact with them very much. But actually, they need such they have such complex daily needs. And I think that is part of what makes them such a great pet, because they have such individual personalities. They can recognise their own name. They can be litter trained. They can solve puzzles. They're so much more like cats and dogs than you would kind of think. And their care is just as time consuming and commitment based as well. They can live up from 10 to 15 years with really good care.
Wow.
So, they can be considered as, a family pet for a very, very long time, just the same as you would a cat or a dog. But yeah, they're absolutely awesome animals. And I think that the reason why they're so popular is obviously because, they look so cute and they're so inquisitive and curious. And I think that the more that you learn about them and the more time you put into them, the more of them that you see in the personalities as well. I could, tell you each of the bunnies, how they'll react to like different situations.
Love that.
I think people just think that they're kind of personalityness. And I remember saying once to my husband, I said, I think Baby Love, who was my rabbit at the time when he met me, I said, I think she's really cross with something. He said, how can you tell? And I said, well, look at her face. He went, it's just a rabbit face. And I went, no.
You can read her.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really in tune with them, which is amazing. And yeah, there's definitely more to than just their looks, right? So
yeah, definitely.
I think that's right. The more time you spend with an animal, the more bonded you become and the more you understand their behaviour and their likes and when they're angry and a little bit stressed. And yeah, totally kind of like, this is probably what I'm doing a lot with mine at the moment, is spending a lot more kind of like quality time with them, just sort of, because again, people have cats and they sort of say, well, the cat comes and goes and I don't really see it, but my cats are indoors and I spend a lot of time talking to them, talking about them, and you see their personalities, you see their uniqueness. Yeah. I think so it's nice, that's true of all animals. And I think that's a good thing for people to be thinking about, the more you put in, the more you'll get out of your lovely relationship.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, completely agree.
When we talked as well a little bit, and I've heard this, a few people talk about this, about keeping rabbits either solo or in groups. Like, is there any advice around that?
It's always a little bit contentious, this issue, because there are lots of people that do have lone rabbits and they will tell you that lone rabbit is the happiest rabbit in the world. And I do believe that they do an excellent job of caring for them and looking after their physical needs. And so they assume that their rabbit is absolutely fine and is very happy living on their own. But the hill I will die on is that rabbits need to be with other rabbits, absolutely, regardless of whether they are binking across the room during the day or that they live inside with you, so that they have human interaction quite a lot. They might have a cat that they get along with. But one of the 5 main welfare requirements for a rabbit is companionship. And I feel like people kind of pick and choose which welfare requirements that they're going to take on board, and they'll provide them, with an excellent diet and the space requirements that they need. They'll protect them from pain. They'll give them opportunities to express their normal behaviour, but then don't give them a friend. And I think, how can you follow all those other welfare requirements but think, actually, I'm not going to follow that one doesn't apply to me? And I've had people vehemently tell me, even last weekend, that I'm spreading misinformation, telling people that rabbits need companionship. But I guide people based on evidence-based research, based on the Rabbit Welfare Association fund requirements. Lagomorph professionals that I've spoken to, my own exotic vet, they're so social, they're so intelligent. If they're living on their own for the entirety of their life, that is a very, very miserable existence for that rabbit. And there's kind of no, sugarcoating that. They are, they're going to be quite bored and quite lonely on their own.
Yeah, I can hear your passion. Like you said, it's a hill you'll die on. I can hear your sort of care and passion behind that. How is how easy is it to bring in a rabbit to one maybe that you've already got then? If somebody's listening to this and they hear, oh, I've already got one rabbit, I really actually would like to get a second one based on what Carrie said and some of the things I've been thinking about. How easy it is for them to bring in a second? Is there any quick advice you could give around that?
I think the best thing to do in that situation is to find a rescue in your area that offers a bonding service, because there are a lot of them around the country, and they will actually take your bunny for an amount of time and they will go through the bonding process for you. The difficulty with going and getting just another single rabbit and then introducing them kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, in that rabbits have very unique personalities, and you don't know the personality of that rabbit until you've got them at home. And I speak to people all week about this, that they've gone and got another bunny for their single rabbit and they can't bond them. They're not getting on, they're fighting, they've had to go to the vets, they can't leave them on their own, etc., etc. And it's very difficult to do that independently, I think, if you've only got one other rabbit that you're trying to kind of force a friendship with your existing. But yeah, there are lots and lots of rescues that have single rabbits because of other circumstances that they've been brought from. You know, that rabbit will be vaccinated, it'll be neutered, it'll be health checked. And the bonding service is usually part of the adoption fee as well. So they will find your rabbit their soulmate based on, the number of rabbits that they have, rather than just you buying one other and hoping it works. We do have a bonding guide and kind of a method of doing that. There are lots of people that are in the situation where they've now got two bunnies and they're like, well, I don't want two single bunnies. And I was speaking to a woman this week, actually, and I said she had gone through, she'd used a bonding coach, she'd used a bonding service, somebody had come and tried to bond them, somebody had taken both the rabbits and tried to bond them, and they just weren't getting on. And I said, well, your only really option is to find a friend for each of them. So now looking at the possibility of having 4 rabbits rather than 2. So I would definitely recommend looking for a bonding service.
That's brilliant.
Because they do exist. So finding one.
That's news to me, but I'm glad we're able to share that with people, because I didn't know about that. But that is a really helpful thing. So if anyone's listening, check out for a local bonding service from your rescues. Yeah, thanks.
I didn't know either. It's kind of like not dating for speed dating or soulmates, isn't it? Kind of find your perfect match.
Last week that they were taking their rabbit to a bunny dating class where they kind of have their bunny introduced to other bunnies and just kind of see who they get on with, and then they'll take the bonding process even further. I
think that's adorable.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can see an app in the future. Forget Match.com. We can have bunnymatch.com, can't we?
Definitely.
They've all got their own unique personalities. Of course, they want to find a friend who they get on with. We don't all get on, do we? So, you can't put 2 humans together, so not always work. So,
absolutely. I mean, I've seen these supposedly cute videos of rabbits that are grooming soft toys and cushions and rugs and things. And people saying, oh my goodness, that's so cute. And my heart's breaking watching it, because that poor rabbit is so desperate to perform their natural behaviours with another rabbit that they're literally grooming a cushion. I find it quite neglectful, with it being a welfare requirement. Their welfare's being compromised, in my opinion, if they don't have another rabbit to live with. And people will still come for me for saying that, but that's the fact.
Yeah, and say they have found their friend, they found their soulmate, their best friend, or the love of their life. What else do you do to sort of improve that rabbit care and welfare for those rabbits? What are the other things? Because I think your socials are full of great ideas and suggestions.
Yes, so enrichment is a massive part of what we do. We have it's called the Solve, Destroy, Explore method. So every day they have something to explore, something to destroy, something to solve. And it sounds kind of really overcomplicated in that it would take a lot of time. I'm really, really busy away from the rabbits as well. I'm a teacher, I'm a mum, I've got a busy house, I've got other pets, but it's very, very simple kind of DIY things that you can do for your buddies to keep them entertained and to keep them enriched during the day. There's loads of different ideas on the checklist that we provide as well that we use in all of our socials, using things even like toilet roll tubes and cardboard boxes, just a clear tub with like loads of digging material in and ball pit balls which go flying absolutely everywhere. Yeah, there's just so many kind of easy, simple things that you can do during the day just to give them something to do other than just sat looking at the sky or whatever it is that they're do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just imagining it now, them surrounded by all these wonderful kind of toilet rolls and things that, yeah, I mean, it's brilliant, really.
I watched one of your videos a few days ago where you were preparing everything and you had like a really amazing checklist of stuff to help and kind of like a little diary planner thing. I thought it was an amazing little tool that other people could perhaps use and download for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I made it for myself just to kind of make it easier because I'm a lister. I love planning and organising things. So I just thought it was a nice, easy way for me to have it just packed up and make sure that I knew what I was doing. I could have everything prepared for the week. I get up really, really early for my job and to get my kids to breakfast clubs and things like that. So, it needs to be something that's like quick and easy to sort out and give to them in the morning and when I get back from work. So yeah, I put it on my Etsy as well, and people have been downloading it. So
good.
It's lovely to see to know that there are some bunnies wherever they are, that are getting these enrichment things to do today. It's lovely.
You're helping the lives of other bunnies, and that's really nice.
Yeah, and of busy pet parents, right? Or bunny parents, because I don't know how you fit it all in with the things you've just described. But yeah, the planner sounds brilliant. I wonder if we can adapt it for me as a dog mom. Things to think about. So say someone's listened today, they're really inspired by what you've shared. They're thinking of getting a bunny, hopefully 2 bunnies or more, so that they have their friends. What's the best advice you could give for anyone considering a bunny as a pet right now?
I would say definitely research. Just research absolutely everything. Go to the Rabbit Welfare Association Fund, have a look at their 5 welfare requirements, and be really honest with yourself about whether you can actually adhere to those requirements. I spoke to a lady on my live. We do a bunny clinic on a Sunday morning. And a lady was asking me loads and loads of questions. She was thinking about getting a rabbit for her daughter. And I showed her my setup, feeding routine, the enrichment, all of this. And she said, thanks so much, but I've decided I'm not going to get a rabbit. I think I'm not going to be able to do what you're doing. And I think I don't have the time to put into having a rabbit. And I thought, do you know what? Amazing. Because, you've researched, you've listened to the advice, and, you've decided that, if you can't offer that, then that's probably not the pet for you. There's a lot that goes into caring for a rabbit properly. They need to have minimum 3 by 2 by 1 meter space requirements. And that's not just kind of during daylight hours, that's 24/7. So not being locked up in a cage or a hutch overnight, that's not what's recommended. Having it predator proofed as well, so that nothing can get in, they can't get out. Asking yourself if realistically you could afford to spend £20-30 a week on fresh vegetables as well, and fresh greens and herbs that they need. Do they have access to an exotic vet in their area that has specialist training on lagomorphs? Can you insure your rabbits? I think people definitely don't anticipate how much that they can cost to keep and how much time is required for them to bond with you properly as well. My situation is quite different because the bunnies were rescues anyway, but I spent hours and hours and hours and hours literally just sat in their enclosure, not trying to stroke them, not trying to do anything with them, just a neutral background, safe energy, so that they could bond with me without any pressure on them and their space requirements and their boundaries. And I don't think people realise that they do need to do that. And I think that's why they're so popular, because they're so cute and they're so widely available, but also why they're then the most abandoned pet in the UK as well, because then people realise that they've kind of been missold a bit of a dream by the pet shops. And they realise that realistically they don't have the time and often don't have the finances to properly sustain a life that a rabbit needs.
Yeah, because I think lots of people kind of want to do their best, and you can feel the love from a lot of people for an animal. But you're absolutely right. I think there has to be a reality check around some of it, in that, like, there is a cost involved. Your animal may get sick. You do need to get the best food. You need to maybe replace an enclosure. You need to get a new enclosure. You might need to, get all these enrichment tools and things. And do you think it's important that people understand that and are prepared to put that in place when they're going to get an animal? It's not just about, I appreciate you have all the love in the world, and that is such a gorgeous thing, but the practical thing needs to come alongside it. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that some of the most neglected rabbits out there are actually in the hands of people who love them dearly.
Yeah.
But they just don't have the right information.
Yeah.
And that's really hard for someone to hear, when they contact me, they show me pictures of their rabbits and I say, have you got this? Are you doing this? And, it's quite hard for them to hear that what they're doing is their best, but actually it's not right for the rabbit.
Yeah.
And it's not enough for the rabbit. And, that's why we are so passionate about being, friendly and approachable and educational, because people rarely take advice on board if their hackles are up. If I'm, going in, crashing, blazing, that's not going to get anywhere. And that rabbit is still, that person's going to block me. They're not going to engage with me. And that rabbit is still going to, be stuck in the environment that they're in. So we get messages constantly, all day, every day. And I answer every single one.
Aww.
Just to, help anywhere, even people in America and, all over. So, we want to make sure that what we're doing is friendly, is approachable, it's supportive. We're not here to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. We're just saying that maybe you need some better advice and some better education around your rabbit's welfare.
Yeah, helping poor. That's what you're offering. I wish you were around when I was younger, because I did have a rabbit, and hearing what you've said today, I know I definitely didn't follow those things. So I do have a lot of guilt around that. But I was a child. But yeah, I just wish that there was social media back in the day and I'd kind of stumbled on your account.
Well, this is it. I think, back in the day, and this is what we want to do. This is why we're here, because back in the day, it was hard to get accessible, lovely, relatable advice about taking care of your animal. You had to do a lot of extra reading, or you had to seek out experts. And thank God there's people like you, Carrie, around who can just present this. Like you said, you do a clinic, and it'd be good to talk about a bit more about that in a second, about some of the ways people can find out a bit more from you.
So you mentioned you have the Etsy shop, which is great. But what other socials are you on?
So we're on TikTok and Instagram. So you can find us on there. It's at _Huns Buns. So yeah, we do a different theme every week. And each day we take like a different angle on that theme. And all the clips and everything I do is based on my own personal rabbit care. I would never, recommend to do anything or buy anything or anything that I wasn't actually using with my own bunnies. Everything I use, I have researched completely. I've been in touch with the brands themselves. I've even been out to hemp beds, which is, I didn't realise, something that I've used a lot. Is like a bedding material, and found out from looking at their website that they were about 20 minutes down the road from me. So I rang them and said, can I come and see how it's made?
Nice.
I think the guy was a bit like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, it was lovely. Amazing. Went last Friday to have a look at how they make it, and yeah, brilliant. So, everything that I use and recommend, I'm doing with, the absolute best knowledge that I have, so that I know that what I'm recommending, I personally feel really, really confident about it. Because I think in the bunny community, particularly, and with you guys in the, in the just the general pet community, it's very, very trust based. People want to be able to trust you and what you're saying, and that I take that really, really seriously. That's really important to me. So yeah, if you see me on my socials and I'm recommending this insurance or that vegetable, you can be assured that I have really done my digging around.
That's good to know. And we'll link all of your platforms on the podcast so people can find them below. So yeah, go and seek those out if you want some more information. But you can absolutely tell you're so dedicated and very well educated and passionate about this. So you've got a lot of great advice and lots of different things that people can access straight away and learn more. So I hope everybody's found that really interesting.
No, definitely. Thank you. And I think our values are aligned. That's why we were so keen to speak to you today, because, we agree. It's all about trust and you speaking from kind of the heart and from experience and what really sort of works for you, and taking that knowledge and sharing it with others, I think is amazing. So yeah, really great to speak to you. Thank you for coming on, and keep in touch with us. If you get any more rabbits, if you get another 3 or some more, do tell us. You can come back on in time to come and share how things are going.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Carrie. Thanks for coming along and appreciate your time. And is there anything you want to say?
The only other thing is that on my socials, my bio is a link tree, and the link tree goes to, people can download a free Bunny Essentials guide sheet as well. That's kind of just like a single kind of fact file sheet, that people can download for free as well. So yeah, they can find all of our Etsy store and everything through the link tree on my bio as well.
Great. Check that out, everybody. And thanks, Carrie. Nice to see you, and take care. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
Bye.
So thanks for listening to another Pause Between Us podcast. Like, follow and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.